I want to welcome you here. My name is Steve Waugh. I am the Sheriff of Yavapai County. This morning I'll provide you with some facts that have not been shared with you up to this point in time regarding the death of two individuals who were participating in a sweat lodge ceremony. There are presently 4 others that are still hospitalized. 3 are fair and 1 is critical. This ceremony process that was called Spiritual Warrior was hosted by a man by the name of James Arthur Ray, and was a culmination of a 4-day retreat in the Sedona area, culminating in the sweat lodge ceremony on Thursday afternoon. Once I conclude my remarks, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions relative to what I am specifically speaking about this morning. I will not share with you information that may jeopardize the investigation. We are investigating at this point in time as a death investigation, but if there are items that we are looking at that may turn this into a criminal prosecution, I will not share those with you at this time. That information will become available as we feel it's appropriate to share it with the media. And that information can be obtained through Dwight Evelyn, who is our media guys over there. He has cards for you, and you can contact him directly and get on his email list. Right now, what I will do is I will walk through the bulleted points of this investigation, so it'll make it reasonably simple for you to follow, and these will be available to you. Dwight can provide those for you. As far as our investigation has revealed so far, as medical services about 5 o'clock on Thursday evening received a 911 call of 2 people without a pulse. We were told of this event at about 17:30 or about 5:30 in the evening, and we arrived on scene at about 5:42. At that time, we discovered numerous people in various states of medical distress, from complaining of illness to being unresponsive, and we confirmed at that time through medical people in attendance that 2 people were in critical condition. The roster turned over to the sheriff's investigators showed 71 people were in attendance. 7 were identified as paid staff, including Mr. Ray. 7 people were identified as volunteers, and 50 people were identified as paying participants. We believe between 50 and 60 people were in the lodge at the time these deaths occurred. Approximately 20 people in all were taken to the following hospitals: Verde Valley Medical Center, Flagstaff Medical Center, Sedona Medical Center, and some patients were transported by helicopter, ambulance, and some by private vehicle. At about 6:26, both James Shore, 40 years of age, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Kirby Brown, 38 years of age, from Westtown, New York, were pronounced dead at Verde Valley Medical Center. Mr. Shore is survived by 3 children and their mother. He also has a brother in Chicago and other family members. Mrs. Brown, or Miss Brown, is survived by her parents. At about 7:42, detectives arrived on the scene at Angel Valley Retreat, which is where the sweat lodge activity was taking place, and we started our investigation at that point. We interviewed a number of people, and about 65 interviews were finally conducted between that time and about 3 o'clock in the morning. We learned that this retreat started on October 3rd of this year. Participants arrived in Sedona, and sometime around 4 o'clock in the afternoon on that day. Between Sunday and Tuesday afternoon, most of their time was spent in lectures and seminars. Tuesday night around 10 o'clock, participants were led into the surrounding canyons to start their what is called Vision Quest. That is approximately a 36-hour period of fasting and spiritual exercises by each of the individuals that were involved in that particular process. Thursday morning, about daybreak, Vision Quest ended, and the participants are fed a breakfast, which was a buffet breakfast including eggs, fruit, and cereal, and were encouraged to drink water. About mid-morning, they spent more time in some seminars and lectures, and then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they arrived at the Sweat Lodge ceremony. The Sweat Lodge consists of rounds of 15 to 30 minutes that they're in the Sweat Lodge, depending upon the length. That's an estimate. Some participants stated that the original plan was for 8 Sweat Lodge experiences. They would be in there from 15 to 30 minutes for 8 different times. During the one round, Mr. Ray would lead the participants in various forms of spiritual exercise. The original round began with 12 cantaloupe-sized rocks brought into the lodge and placed in a pit. The rocks were then saturated with water to create steam, and sandalwood was thrown on the rocks to give the effect of incense. At the end of each round, the door flap would be raised and allow more rocks to be brought in. When we were doing our investigation, we found that there had been 58 rocks placed into the pit over the period of time that they were in the lodge. The cantaloupe-sized volcanic rocks were heated throughout the day before being put in there, and then that's how they kept them warm. After about the 4th round, 2 participants were dragged to the door by the people attending the Sweat Lodge. It is believed that the entire Sweat Lodge lasted for 8 rounds. It is unknown exactly how many participants were in each of the rounds, and we're trying to compile at this time a list from the interviews we conducted. We secured the scene, and during the investigation, we determined the investigation revealed the lodge was constructed. It was a temporary structure that was built by staff from Mr. Ray, and it was juniper oak frame, then covered with many layers of blankets, comforters, and tarps. It was approximately 415 square feet, and there were at any given time, the best estimate based upon the interviews that we have, between 50 and 60 people were in that lodge. The circumference was approximately 74 feet. It was 53 inches high in the center and 30 inches high on the outside perimeter. So literally no one could stand up in the lodge. And it was not uniform in height because of the kinds of materials that they used. Autopsies were conducted on the 9th of October, and the autopsies results are still pending, and the toxicologies from that are still pending. They were conducted by the Office of the Medical Examiner of Yavapai County. At presently, we are working with the Office of the Medical Examiner to officially determine what the cause of death is, and that may take some time. I would say probably a week to 10 days, maybe a little bit longer, because of having to, the process that they go through to determine the actual cause of death. We took samples of the fabric constructing the roof, where the roof was made of, the rocks were collected, firewood, and all those other kinds of things that are necessary to determine and possibly put some closure as to what the cause of death was. We continue monitoring the condition of the participants. We attempted to interview Mr. Ray at the scene. He refused to talk to us, and we will, at some point in time, schedule another interview with him. Most of the other people that are involved, except for those that are still in the hospital, have left the area, but we will follow up on interviews as necessary. So that's the situation as it is as of this morning at 10:20.